What's up and welcome back to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Friday, April 14th, 2023. Of course, I'm Tim Geddes, and I'm joined by the new face of video games, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Good morning, Tim. I love the outfit today.
Thank you. I love it so very, very much. It's my Vin Diesel shirt.
You have a shirt that just says Vin Diesel.
My arms got stuck in a wind, and the jacket was off a little bit, so it wrapped around, and I cuffed myself. I cucked myself, everybody.
If anything, it's impressive that you're able to pull that off. Like, I've never seen somebody do that before.
That was
trying
wild.
to take off a bomber jacket in a cool way, and all of a sudden they're just all tied up.
That's all tied up, baby. You know, hey, Vin Diesel, baby, the day of our Lord. Like I was saying, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. How you doing, Bless?
I'm doing really good. That just brightened up my day.
Yeah. You have a fantastic shirt as well.
Oh yeah, of course. I gotta rep my favorite sitcom, Boy Meets World, with my Topanga shirt. Shout out to the Queen, Danielle Fishel. Love you.
Of course. Let's just get into it, Bless. Let's get into some fun, because we got a lot of fun to talk about today. We have a crazy day of content planned for everybody. Today's stories include Suicide Squad's new date, Ubisoft XDefiant getting a beta, and more, because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily, where each and every weekday, live at 10 a.m., we come at you with all the video game news that you need to know. You can watch it live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames or youtube.com/kindafunnygames. If you want to watch it later as a video, YouTube or roosterteeth.com is where you want to go. If you want to get it as a podcast, search your favorite podcast service for Kinda Funny Games Daily, and we will be right there for you. But if you wanted to get the show ad-free and go above and beyond in your support, you got to go to patreon.com/kindafunny, just like our Patreon producers Tripod Plus Plus and Delaney Twining have done. Because of their support, they don't need to hear the ads for Rocket Money that you will all hear later. Some housekeeping for you today. Kinda Funny's teaming up with our friends at Hang Time for an awesome stream where we will channel our inner Dominic Toretto, a.k.a. Vin Diesel. And we're going to race across the United States in the crew, too. It's going to be Greg, Andy, and me. We're going to have to go as fast and furious as possible to win the race. But all your Twitch subs and YouTube SuperChats will have us hit pit stops with fun challenges that we have set up throughout the entire studio. Y'all aren't ready for this stream. There is going to be so many shenanigans unlike anything you've ever seen. It is going to be such a blast. And it's multifaceted blast. There's going to be a lot going on. Have you seen, I don't want to spoil too much, but have you seen our little car setup that we have going?
No, I mean, I've tripped over some of the stuff that's been set around the studio because I forgot that this was happening until this very moment. And so that makes sense why there's litter everywhere. But I'm not seeing, what's the car setup that you're talking about?
We may or may not have a little car with a camera on it that's remote controlled that we will be able to race around the studio, and y'all will be able to see the feed of the remote control car.
Oh, let's go.
Mike, how you feeling about this? You excited?
Bless, I'm very excited about today's stream because it's going to be a ton of fun. But Blessing, the technology behind this cool RC car / video game is unbelievable. Think about, because this is the team that made Mario Kart Home Circuit, right? Think about what that was. They elevated it. No, you know what? I can't say elevated anymore. I'm trying to use new words. They improved upon it, and they really made something really special out of it, Bless. It has an awesome camera, cool effects on it. You can make your own track along the whole entire house. You're going to be blown away by what you see with this one. I'm really impressed with what they did.
I'm very excited.
And this was the team that made Knockout City, Bless, just so you know.
Yeah, Velen Studios. Heck yeah, we love Velen Studios.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Definitely can't wait for all of you to see that. That is later today after Games Daily. And in between this and that, we've been trying something new this week, doing a Kinda Funny Games Daily kind of post-show lead into the stream where we will answer all your questions about the stories we talk about today via your super chats on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. A new PS I Love You XOXO is up right now, all about PSVR 2 and whether it's already dead or not. Is it a good episode, Bless?
It's a fantastic episode. Is it an episode that's going to anger a lot of people? Probably.
But
you should go listen to it anyway.
youtube.com/kindafunnygames and podcast services around the globe. Today we're brought to you by Rocket Money, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 6 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
Bless, yesterday, you and I and you, we sat at this very table in a different order. We had conversations about video games, and one of the things I brought up was, wait a minute. Suicide Squad hasn't actually been delayed. That's kind of weird, right?
It's kind of strange.
Kind of strange. Once again, they heard us. They heard us, and boom, it's all happening. Story number 1, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been officially delayed to February 2024. This comes from Alex Stedman at IGN. Rocksteady has officially delayed the game to February 2nd, 2024, Groundhog's Day. This is starting to feel like Groundhog's Day, just over and over and over. Quite a few months from his previous May 26th, Kevin's birthday, 2023 dates. The developer announced the news. That's weird. May 26th, Kevin's birthday. February 2nd, Kevin's sister's birthday.
Whoa. They know.
The developer announced the news on Twitter today, writing in a statement, "We've made the tough but necessary decision to take the time needed to work on getting the game to be the best quality experience for players. Thank you to our amazing community for the continued support, patience, and understanding. There's much more to share in the months ahead, and we look forward to seeing you in Metropolis next year."
As you read through this, I clicked over to see if Game Informer even has their release schedule for 2024 up yet, because that's my Bible, right? Like, aside from Bleszinski Super Fun Game Release Calendar, which of course you all should check out and appreciate, I go over to Game Informer's list to see what are the games that are coming out that have dates on them. And I wanted to check over to 2024 to see if this is the game that has the furthest out solid release date right now. And Game Informer doesn't even have 2024. That's how far out it is. They're like, hey, no game's getting announced for 2024. Why would it even start this list yet?
Yeah.
And here we go. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I assume
now the furthest out game with the release date.
It's now the furthest out game with the release date, and you assume that this is coming off of the State of Play where nobody was happy.
Yeah, I mean, we got to look at it as an industry anomaly here, where this game was shown off at a State of Play. The State of Play focusing on it months before its release, and then it gets the delay. Like, I feel like, as common as this seems, and delays happen all the time, this feels fairly unique in terms of like how high profile it's like kind of pre-order showing was, right? Like, that's what that State of Play was the the big buzz of like, yo, this game is imminent. And then for them to delay it, especially this way, where like we learned about this through like scuttlebutt and kind of like leaks before it was officially announced a month before it was going to come out.
Wild. Like, very interesting, very strange. And yeah, the timing of it has to be direct correlation, right? Of, oh, this is not the response that we wanted. I think you see yesterday, right after the Zelda trailer dropped, there's so many people that were like, oh, it was like a reminder, right? Oh shit, this is Zelda. Like, Zelda's about to come out and dominate the conversation. And as I talked about with, I believe it was Greg, one of the reasons, or no, I think we were talking about Redfall, but I'll still say Suicide Squad fits it within this like spring time frame of, hey, right now, games are coming out. Games are happening. You look at the fall, and games are going to be coming out. Games are going to be happening. Big games, right? Like, you're talking about Zelda. You're talking about Spider-Man in the fall. You're talking about Starfield coming out in the fall in September. Like, right now, 2024, in terms of big game announcements, don't have much that have planted down their flag and have gone, hey, this is us. Like, this is where we're going to stand. And that story might change after the Summer Game Fest, after June, and hearing and seeing big game announcements happen. But yeah, for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which is a game that I would say would thrive by coming out at a time that isn't surrounded by other big games.
Which at this point, does that exist?
Like, at this point, probably not, right? But like,
it definitely wasn't May, though.
Definitely was not May, right? And I understand how you land on February. The worry I have here is, if this is a response to the State of Play and people not liking what they saw in terms of gameplay, how much of that is going to change? Like, we're talking about less than a year, right?
It seems impossible, right? Like, it seems impossible to fix that problem that they clearly now see as a problem, because that seems to be it, right? It seems to be people did not like the...
But also, when this hearsay came about before this was officially announced yesterday, right? Like, this was like a month ago, we were hearing rumors of this getting delayed, possibly even out of the year. I remember someone saying it did not, at least internally, it did not have to do with the response of the State of Play. And chat's also saying that Jeff Grubb, the homie, is also saying that the delay might have been in the works before the State of Play was even released. So yeah, it's just
that's even more strange. Like, that's even more suspect, right?
Either way, it's like that's very problematic for different reasons. Like, it's going down like a different avenue of issues where it's like, all right, so if it was going to be delayed and they did the State of Play anyways,
yeah,
like,
why the fuck did you do a State of Play?
That
like,
shows
why was
a
that
lot of like poor leadership on the Sony side of things, of the marketing side, where it's like, why would you do that? Like that, there's no wins there, right? There's only bad news. And it's like, you look at the Redfall conversation the last couple of days on the Xbox side, it's like, I can't imagine PlayStation wanting to take that L and own that L. You know what I mean? Especially for something like a State of Play that is like their branding. But at the same time, like with what we saw that game at that State of Play, it looked like there was a fun game. It just didn't look like Rocksteady's first game in a decade.
Yeah, I'm so curious about what their plan is for this thing, because right now, looking at Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, the response that game is going to get, being what it is, right? Being this live service game with a battle pass, with multiplayer, with different Suicide Squad characters that you can play as that don't look like they play that different. That is a third-person shooter, right? This game that essentially not many people asked for, right? I'll go as far as to say I don't think anybody asked for this game. No matter if it releases in May or if it releases in February, I think the response is going to be similar of, all right, it's here for a few days, and then we forget about it, and then move on to the next thing, right? Or maybe it finds a tight-knit community that is, oh wait, no, this game is actually really fun. We're gonna stick with this, right? Like I think back to like I played Gotham City Imposters like years and years and years ago, and that was a small game, but I had fun with it, right? And I stuck with it for probably like a week or so, and I still look back at that game fondly. I think Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has the potential to be an Outriders, right? It has the potential to be something that surprises us and makes us go, oh, this is pretty cool. All right, cool, that was fun. But I don't think it has the kind of staying power and the kind of anticipation to make it something that's worth hyping up at a State of Play and then going, now delay it 10 months to iron out the bells and whistles, to make it to polish it and do all these things. Like if it needed that stuff, if it was going to come out and be rough anyway, sure, yeah, delay your games. Delaying a game is always better than putting out a bad, rough product anyway. But is that going to fix the real issues that this game has, which I would go back to say are fundamental in terms of what the game actually is?
Yeah, I mean, I know you know this, but I mean, just bringing up Outriders, I think that it's like such a funny thing that we are comparing Outriders to a Rocksteady DC game. You know, like whereas Outriders, and I could be wrong about this because I wasn't like super up on the pre-marketing for it, but that was a game that had a fairly regular marketing schedule where the game was announced, we saw it at a couple different events, and then it came out, and it was a genuine surprise in the way of like, oh, this is one of those early year treat games where it's like, hey, this is fun I didn't expect to have necessarily.
I would say they even had more effective communication, because before Outriders came out, they were like, hey, this is not a games as a service. Like, this is not a live service game. Like it is a one and done. We might have DLC for it, like might not, who knows? Like but this is a complete type of game. Suicide Squad is poising themselves to be not that, right?
Yeah.
Like the marketing for Outriders, I would say in a lot of ways was even more strong, right? Like you didn't have a lot of excitement around it like Outriders, but like at the very least, they knew what their vision was for that game, and they communicated that vision, and it came out, and people played it, and were like, all right, cool, and then moved on.
Whereas we've been marketed this game for years at this point. And it's like, and there was the questions of, okay, but what is it? And, oh, I hope it's not this. And then we get it, like, oh, fuck, it seems to be this, but it might be more Outriders-y. Like, there is hope here. But then, like, when the State of Play is essentially like, hey, there's these characters, and there's more characters coming, and we're all like, I don't know that we want more characters. Like, it's just such a weird push and pull, and like there's different expectations when we're talking Rocksteady, when we're talking major superheroes. We're talking about the Justice League here, and we're talking about a post-Avengers world as well. Like there's a lot of reason to be hesitant about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and they just continue to give us more and more reasons to feel that way. And at this point, I don't know the move. I don't know what they do with this, besides just put it out and hope that it latches on with a community that, even if they weren't asking for this, find something that there's value in. Which, again, looking at it, I see some Outriders fun there. And even though that's not necessarily what I think that the audience for those games would want, maybe they'll find something good.
Yeah, I think the best move here would be to try your best to make it a surprise for the audience that proves us all wrong, right? Put out a game that, is what it is. Make it multiplayer, make it live service, right? You've come too far. You're not going to change those aspects. Just make the game as fun as you can, right? Lean in all the way. Go, hey, all right, what are the things we can really do to improve here to make it the greatest Suicide Squad multiplayer live service game that we can? And I think adding in 10 more, like that's a lot of time. Yeah, do that. Polish it. If that is, I mean, since we know it's an ongoing thing and they had DLC plans and all that stuff, have that content ready. Like maybe even launch the game with more content than you even planned, because you have this time now to work on characters, work on missions, work on content, work on guns, work on all that stuff, and have it be this jam-packed experience by the time we get it. Because that's usually the downfall when it comes to a lot of games or service games, is that the content just isn't there, right? Like we look at Anthem, we look at Halo Infinite, we look at so many games that come out, and it's like, oh, and then over the weeks, it's like, oh, like this doesn't have anything coming out. Have this thing be content packed by the time we play it, and have the content hit, right? Have us run into Superman, and Superman's dropping some cool lore about his background. And you're like, oh shit, they're referencing this nerdy shit that only Greg Miller would know. Like, give me those moments, and maybe we have something here, right? Like they mentioned, we made it the tough but necessary decision to take the time needed to work on getting the game to be in the best quality experience for players, right? The best quality experience. For me, that speaks to let's launch with a bang. Like, let's make this a banger. And I hope they're able to do that, right? I think the odds are stacked against them because not many people asked for this game. Cool. Like, prove us all wrong is what I want.
Prove us wrong. And like that is the uphill battle that they are facing that we'll be able to see for ourselves on February 2nd.
February 2024. That's 9 years since the release of the previous Rocksteady game.
I'll be turning, 29 the day after? And then let's see, I was 20 when Arkham Knight came out.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah.
A 9-year development cycle is wild.
Bless, let me ask you a crazy question here.
What's up, Tim?
What comes out first?
Oh, no.
Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? Starfield.
Oh, okay. It's got to be Starfield. If it's not Starfield, I don't know if the games industry will be here anymore because the Xbox fans would have torn the whole thing down. Yeah. Like, I think they're climbing out the sewers, they're putting buildings on fire, they're finding any games media outlet that they can. Like, we're getting swarmed with Xbox fans in here if somehow Starfield gets delayed out of this year. Yeah, are you kidding me? We'll be in Mad Max. But the gamer version.
I'm confident that Starfield hits this year.
It better.
I think that it's going to.
Somebody said, "Why sewers?" You know why the sewers exactly. Come on. Let's be real here. We'll be right. I thought you were going to say Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
No, that one. I mean, I don't think that. I don't expect that before February 2nd. Anyways.
That's fair.
March, April, maybe for that, and even then, we'll fucking see. But my dog Nick brings up Skull and Bones. That's another one probably that. Skull and Bones.
That's actually a really good one.
Those are analogous, probably. Although Starfield was also announced a bazillion years ago.
Skull and Bones is an interesting one to throw in.
But there's no expectations at all for Skull and Bones.
Yeah,
so there is a difference there.
There's negative expectation. For Skull and Bones.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Skull and Bones comes out first.
No, really.
Yeah, like how far did Ubisoft delay Skull and Bones to?
I don't know.
Like, did they not give it? Because I would still expect Skull and Bones to maybe come out at the end of the year.
Do you know what's up with Skull and Bones release date?
Somebody said Beyond Good and Evil 2. You're never seeing Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah, I really don't think so.
It's a fake game. It was never real.
It's what we said about Final Fantasy VII Remake, though.
And
that game came out and was our game of the year. Like, holy shit.
Remember when Joseph Gordon-Levitt came onto the Ubisoft stage and was like, hey, artists,
steal your shit.
Let's steal your shit and put it into a video game.
No one in the chat say anything about Skull and Bones release date, but
I will still
let me know if there is any info on that.
Because that game, well, here's my thing with Skull and Bones, right? And I know you can say the same thing for Suicide Squad, but Skull and Bones was dated for November. Like, it had a release date in November, and then got pushed, and then got pushed again with no. And it's like, that game, just put it out. Like, you talk about a game having negative expectation. Like, you might make money if that game, like, you just put the game out now, as opposed to working on that game for another year and then putting it out and getting no reception. But maybe maybe it is the thing of, let's surprise the audience. Like, let's actually make something that is content packed, that's gonna hit, and that's gonna be fun, and make people go, hey, Skull and Bones, pretty good.
Yeah. Prime time, 7 p.m. says they said 2023, 2024 fiscal year.
Okay, so that's before next March.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm putting my money on Skull and Bones before Suicide Squad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Les, that's pretty crazy. Because, I mean, that gives you just 32 days of 2024. Or it comes out this year, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm thinking, I think, yeah. Because I think, if I had to guess.
I don't think it's possible. It's not coming this year.
I would, but like, if the fiscal year saying, or the fiscal whatever it's saying, before next March they want it to come out. Again, that game should have already been out. Like, I'm thinking either very late this year or like January next year. Like, give me the Rainbow Six Extraction slot.
Mike, what comes out first? Suicide Squad or Skull and Bones?
We'll see, man.
What comes out first? Suicide Squad or Starfield?
Don't be like that. To me. Don't be like that.
Discuss Mike.
Story number 2, everybody. Ubisoft has launched a closed beta test for its free-to-play first-person shooter XDefiant. This comes from Tom Ivan at VGC. Ubisoft has kicked off a closed beta test for its upcoming free-to-play first-person shooter XDefiant. Available on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S, the cross-play test is running until April 23rd, and players can register for a chance to take part here. Participants can step into the shoes of 4 Ubisoft franchise-inspired factions: the Cleaners from The Division, Libertad from Far Cry 6, Echelon from Splinter Cell, and Phantoms from Ghost Recon Phantoms. Each faction includes 3 characters, one of which is unlocked from the start, with the others unlockable through missions. Players can compete across 14 maps using 24 weapons, 44 attachments, and 5 explosive devices. While progression won't carry over to the full game, Ubisoft said players will be able to keep up to 10 exclusive cosmetic items at release, when the game will also be available for PS4 and Xbox One. XDefiant's in development at Ubisoft San Francisco, led by executive producer Mark Rubin, who previously held the same position at Call of Duty Modern Warfare studio Infinity Ward. The game was initially revealed in July 2021 as Tom Clancy's XDefiant. At the time, it only included factions from Tom Clancy franchises Splinter Cell, Ghost Recon, and The Division. But in March 2022, Ubisoft announced that it was dropping the Tom Clancy branding and introducing additional factions from its wider catalog of IP.
Tim.
Yeah.
Would you guess that last night I spent hours playing XDefiant?
I
with the homies.
Would never believe you.
I got into the closed beta. I was playing with I was playing with Ka and Ree, and I had a pleasantly fun time. I enjoyed this game quite a bit, and I had zero expectations. Funny enough, I had checked out XDefiant a couple of years ago during like a close test that Ubisoft was doing, and like coming out of it, I was like, all right, cool. It's like it's whatever. It didn't hit at the time, right? Over the years, they've been, of course, working on it, developing it, adding in more bells and whistles. Playing it last night, I think they might have something here. I don't know. Okay. I'm not gonna say they have like Magic or the next Apex or anything, but they have a game that is really fun and a game that's going to be free to play when it launches. The idea of it being almost like this Ubisoft Super Smash Brothers, but for shooters, is actually kind of hitting. Like, I think for me, it's giving aesthetically what I've needed out of, I guess, this tier of Ubisoft game where you log in, you boot up the game, and they're basically treated as different classes, where like you're seeing like, oh, okay, these are obviously the people from Far Cry 6. Oh, these are obviously Ghost Recon people. This is obviously Splinter Cell. And each of those factions, each of those classes have different abilities. And so for me, I was using the Phantoms from Ghost Recon Phantoms, and they're a defense class. And each class has different special abilities. The special ability that I was rocking with for my class was to throw out a shield. So I'd press L1, pop out a shield, and it would stay up for about like 10, 15 seconds. And I'm like hiding behind, trying to take out enemies that are across the map. Like I had a pretty fun, like, I would compare it more to a Call of Duty, like pacing in terms of how quick it is versus like something slow like Rainbow Six Siege. But it also reminded me of Overwatch a little bit in terms of how objective based it is, right? Like you have one mode where you're pushing a payload. The mode I was playing a lot last night was Domination, where you're capturing different points. And yeah, like I was very surprised by how fun it was. Like it is a very fun first-person shooter that, again, I think for being a free-to-play game, I could see quite a few people getting into this. Yeah,
I mean, Ubi has Brawlhalla as well, right? I feel like it's these like smaller titles, and they roll the dice a lot, and I think that's a big problem that they have. But I think that they are capable of getting like little wins kind of in the background. And the question is, will this be another Hyperscape, or could this be a foot forward of people playing and be like, yo, it's actually pretty fun, and it being free to play? And I think them dropping the Tom Clancy branding and focusing it more on the Ubisoft side of things, there's potential there. Will that die out in the next couple months, and we're going to be doing a story on Games Daily about this game shutting down?
Yeah,
maybe.
That's the one thing I worry about is, will this have the staying power? Because it's happened a lot. It happened with Hyperscape. It happened with Roller Champions came out last year and was also a free to play game from Ubisoft that I picked it up day one, and I was like, oh, that's pretty fun. And then they didn't add in stuff to it to keep people going, and so like that very much came and went. This strikes me as it's going to hit a little bit harder than Hyperscape. Even Hyperscape, even though I like the idea of it, in action, I didn't like the moment-to-moment gameplay. Like the shooting of it never felt right. The shooting here feels good. Like I found myself like when I would get a headshot, I was using the marksman rifle quite a bit, and like I was popping off headshots, and I was like, dude, this feels great. Like I'm really enjoying getting kills here, and it's 6v6, and so there's like you have like tight enough teams where communication does start to matter. Where when doing the mode where we're capturing the different points, right? Points A, B, and C. It was me communicating with Ree and Ka going, hey, I'm gonna go point B. You guys hold down point A. Like I'm gonna see if I can get this point, right? Because they're gaining the advantage. And it's those moments that for me are hitting. There's already in the closed beta, there's like a makeshift battle pass where you are earning things as you're going, right? I assume it's not gonna carry on to the full game, but you know, they have that progression system there for those that want it. And in terms of supporting it post-launch and adding in new things, I think it being this, hey, it's just Ubisoft. Like, we're not calling it Tom Clancy's XDefiant. We're just calling it XDefiant. Yeah, like, I think there is potential for them to add in more factions. One of the factions that I've not unlocked yet, probably because I don't know if it's a progress thing or if it's just they have it locked, is there's a Watch Dogs 2 class in there, right? That has, like, cool tech that you can get. It's literally called DedSec. And yeah, I think you can expand that, right? Like if you're able to get in these different things, get into Rabbids class, I don't know. But yeah, like there's potential there to pull from other different Ubisoft games that could be cool, could be neat, and could mean that people might stick with it longer if they're actually supporting it.
So, little thought exercise for you.
Mm-hmm.
Armchair quarterback in here. Me and you, Bless, we're big wig decision makers. What do we call this game? Because I don't think we'd call it XDefiant.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is I think it's going to be called XDefiant. And that's not a good name.
Yeah.
That's not a good name.
But it's weird. Like, what is a good name? Like, what is the right thing? Because I feel like going with something that I feel like we'd say is more accurate is weird and boring and sterile in a way. Like,
yeah, because like what? Are we going to call it something Bash? Something Clash?
Like, I think Smash Brothers, like, lucked the fuck out. That's a weird name, but just somehow it's stuck in you.
To the extreme of the chat says, you be shooty.
You be shooty is pretty fucking good.
You be shooty is really funny.
But you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like, I feel like XDefiant does not at all tell me that it is a Ubisoft collab shooter that's pretty good.
Yeah, one of the words that comes to mind, right, would be Cross something. But I think that is where the X in XDefiant comes from, right? The idea of like, and I don't know what the Defiant
is. It XDefiant or is it Cross Defiant?
You know, that's a really good question. I'm not asked anybody.
Yeah.
I can DM somebody right now.
Yeah,
and be like, yo,
DM them. Let's get to the bottom of this. Andy Cortez, if you have a name. Ubisoft.
Ubisoft is really good.
Ubisoft's pretty good.
That's actually really good. Here. Yusuf, is it? Is it
XDefiant or Cross Defiant?
Or Cross?
It's funny because I Cross Defiant I do like more. But if it's stylized as an X and you're supposed to say cross, I like it less, which is what it is. They can't win.
This is on the record on KFGD, by the way.
This is on the record. Saying the name of the game right.
Multiply. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Multiplication.
Defiant. Roman numerals.
Whoa. You telling me they're not. Oh, yeah. He says
D.
X.
It's Kingdom Hearts.
This is X Defiant.
Oh, it's X Defiant. All right. Well, there's that. Cool. Keep your eyes peeled to that. Bless seems to like it. That's great.
Yeah. I think we might get a couple of good streams out of it in Kind of Funny. Yeah. And like I could see Mike, if Mike gets super into it, I could see us getting even more. Maybe we play for a month. Maybe you play it for even 2 months. You'll have to see.
You will have to wait and see. If you want to do that, you can support us over on patreon.com/kindoffunny. And if you do that, you don't get to listen to us read ads, but for everyone else, you do. Here they are. Shout out to Rocket Money for sponsoring this episode. We all love gobbling up content, and we have an understanding of what subscriptions we use. Or do we? Do you know how much your subscriptions really cost? Most Americans think they spend around $80 a month on subscriptions when the actual total is closer to $200. That's right. You out there. you could be wasting hundreds of dollars each month on subscriptions you don't even know about. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending and it helps you lower your bills, all in one place. Rocket Money has saved some of us here at Kind of Funny a ton of money, and it can help you too. Stop throwing away your money. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/kindafunny. That's rocketmoney.com/kindafunny. ROCKETMONEY.com/kindafunny. Story number 3. Ubisoft Plus is now available on Xbox. This comes from Owen S. Good at Polygon. Ubisoft Plus, the publisher's monthly subscription offering its back catalog on an all-you-can-eat basis is now available on Xbox consoles, Microsoft announced on Thursday. A membership costs $18 a month. Xbox Access comes under the sub's top-level multi-access plan, which includes access to Ubisoft's catalog on Amazon Luna and on Windows PC through the Ubisoft Connect platform. Players who have already subscribed at the multi-access level, and God, there's just too much shit, Bless. Too many pluses, too many levels, too many just subscriptions. You can get this in the Amazon Luna. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Nah, man, I'm excited for the multi-access plan, especially because I can get it as part of my PS Plus. Now, which tier PS Plus can I get a part of, Tim? I don't fucking
PS
know.
Plus, everybody.
I don't know.
All right, we'll get through this together. The multi-access level, if you want to play Ubisoft games on an Xbox One or Xbox Series X, you just need to connect your Xbox Live account to Ubisoft Plus. It's that easy, everyone.
It's that easy.
An accompanying news
play on.
release from Ubisoft on Thursday said Ubisoft Plus multi-access would support cross-platform progression and game saves for a select number of titles, which were not specified. Ubisoft's statement also said subscribers would have access to premium editions of upcoming releases, though it wasn't clear if it was talking about same-day launches of entirely new titles. Ubisoft Plus launched in September 2019. It's available to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 players, but only through PlayStation Plus's new extra and premium subscription tiers.
Answer my question.
There you go.
Extra and premium.
There you go.
I do not have those.
I'm lightheaded, Bless.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just a lot of terminology.
Just a lot of buzzwords.
Are we going to get to the point where it's because I look at TV this way, right? Like TV streaming, or like I guess just streaming in general this way, where I think I'm paying for a lot. Like I'm paying for Netflix, I'm paying for Disney Plus, I'm paying for I'm paying for Max, not HBO.
No, it's still
just Max.
still HBO Max.
For now.
For now. When does that change?
I think in like a month.
All right, I'm paying for HBO Max. I might change it when just Max comes out, because come on, bro. Paying for Apple TV Plus because I gotta watch my Ted Lasso, right? Paying for Peacock because I gotta pretend that I'm watching This Is Awesome. I'm sorry, I'm watching it. I'm not watching it. But I'm paying for so many TV streaming services. Are video games gonna be the same way?
Yes and no. Because here's the difference. People are going to pay for things when they're getting a product. You're paying for streaming services because they're giving you TV shows. Like every single thing you mentioned, you're watching a show there, right? Like, or you should use Rocket Money and then not subscribe anymore to the things you're not using.
Smart.
But like legitimately, it's like as these streaming services are like, there's more and more and more of them. In some ways, consolidating less and less and less of them. It's because they are offering more content than they ever have. The game side of things not doing that. So it's like you look at Xbox and with what they've done with Game Pass, they've kind of cornered that side of the market for themselves. But then there is more the idea of the cloud-based subscription services that we've seen on the GeForce side of things with NVIDIA, right? And I feel like so far, with the exception of Game Pass, these are all kind of more niche services that people that have specific needs or specific tastes are going to delve into. Otherwise, it's kind of just like, oh yeah, those are things that are out there. I think everyone else is like trying to figure it out because they all want that, obviously. You look at the online services that they offer, whether it's PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live or Nintendo Switch Online, and kind of offering back catalog games is like is their kind of way to handle the subscription. You get all the online play and all that stuff, and that's how they keep you there. Ubisoft, with this, Ubisoft Plus, has a very unique positioning where if they wanted to, they could pull a Game Pass model where day and date, all the biggest Ubisoft originals, because they even have that own branding for themselves, you can get that through that. I think that there could be value for them, and that would allow Ubi, again, a very uniquely placed production team studio, because they have so many different IP, they have so many different worldwide teams that they can almost function as like the ultimate third party. They're in a position, I would say, is only analogous to Activision or EA. Debatably Square, right? But because they own so many different games and so many different teams, they could actually provide the value to people and convince them to pay for a Ubisoft subscription while continuously giving things, whether it's like DLC type updates or more support and cosmetics and stuff in the free-to-play games, as well as, Assassin's Creed, whatever's coming out, you also get a day and date. That doesn't seem to be what they're doing here. And like, I feel like we're in the worst timeline where it's just like a bunch of muddled messaging and a lot of people being like, it's kind of like this thing, but it's also not the thing you want from that thing.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I'm looking through the library of what they do have, right? And it's very much being promoted and marketed as, hey, this is our back catalog, right? You're getting so many Ubisoft games, and you run through the list. And when I go to the Ubisoft Plus library, it's immediately, hey, Rainbow Six Siege, then Rainbow Six Siege again for some reason. It's I see, Ultimate Deluxe Edition, and then the Settlers, New Allies, Oddballers, Rayman again, Rabbids, Party of Legends, Far Cry 6, Roller Champions, War Pips, and like, they're talking about like 100+ games. A lot of these games, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to play.
But I do think that this is a Game Pass situation where when they first announced it, it was like we're going to be putting our first party titles, and we're like, are they really? That seems wild. And
do you
here
think
we are
get
years later, and we got it. I do think we will. I just don't think that that's happening yet. I think that's what they're saying, is that they're doing that. It's just what games are we getting for it? Like, Ubisoft's just in this weird place of like, where's Skull and Bones? You know what I mean? Like, where are these games? Where's Avatar? Where are the Ubisoft games? That are the games that have consequences being released.
Like Assassin's Creed Mirage would be such a great get.
Exactly. That's the big one for me. Where, let's see. But I imagine it will be part of this, right?
You hope so? You hope so. I don't have faith in it yet, because I think that is a big step that I'm sure they want to take at some point, because I think that'd be huge. Like, Ubisoft puts out enough games, and this is to your point. They put out enough games at a decent cadence to where I think they could pull it off, but I think it is just it's about getting the quality games. Like, I think right now we're expecting 1 or 2 quality games a year from Ubisoft, but they put out like 4 or 5, right? Like, they put out quite a few games a year, but the exciting, great ones are very few and far between. I don't think you can put out like one big AAA blockbuster game that's a banger a year and then have this work where people are paying monthly for this thing.
I mean, you can, and Xbox proved it.
Well, like that's different though, right? Like, because Xbox does have so many day and date things that are coming out that aren't just from Xbox Game Studios. And like, the expectation there is like every month you're getting at least something of consequence. Like, in January we got Hi-Fi Rush. This month we're getting Last Case of Benedict Fox, right? And like, there are other games that populate that are day and date. I know those aren't all huge, but I think those those are reasons for people to keep subscribed, right? There's a reason for me not to unsubscribe from Game Pass, along with other games that are coming to the platform that are exciting. Ubisoft Plus. It's just Ubisoft games, which only have a certain cadence.
So looking at the trailer here, it's saying upcoming. Hold on. After they got Uno and Monopoly,
everything I'm seeing on your screen is so.
I know it is. It is very funny. But play upcoming releases available day 1.
Okay.
And we see Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones.
We see the Crew Motor Fest,
which I'm actually very excited about. Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Okay, cool. There we go. So that answers the question. Yusuf McGee from Ubisoft is calling in. 1 second. Yusuf, what's up? You were live on Kind of Funny Games Daily. How you doing?
What's going on, Tim Geddes? I cannot sit here and watch you and Blessing just muck this up so badly anymore.
Yeah, it's so clear to everybody.
No, I will admit, yes, the language can get a bit in the weeds, but Ubisoft Plus, I can confirm, Ubisoft Plus does get you brand new releases day and date. So when Assassin's Creed Mirage comes out, if you subscribe to Ubisoft Plus, you get that right away.
Are there exceptions to that, or is it kind of like Xbox, where it's like going forward, all the titles are going to be available there?
It's going forward, like all titles. If there are ever exceptions, that it's always going to be like very clearly communicated up front.
Gotcha.
All right, that's huge.
Yeah, that is absolutely huge. A little feedback. I don't know who you should give it to, but I feel like that should be more clear.
You gotta lead with that one.
But that's all. That is great news. How you doing, Yusuf?
I'm good. I love both you and Bless. I felt summoned because Bless asked me about XDefiant, and I wanted to come in and just make sure that we're all clear.
I love it.
You ever got those Ubi questions? Just come to me.
Well, if you're looking for some more feedback,
If you could change the name from XDefiant to Cross-Defiant, I feel like that would hit. I feel like that's a...
You want Cross-Defiant.
Or Ubisoft. Ubisoft is
Ubisoft was another thing, because we're looking at the crossover appeal of the Ubisoft titles. Yeah.
It.
We can talk offline. We can figure it out.
We got you.
Yeah. We'll offline this.
All right. Love you, dude. Talk to you soon.
Love you too.
Bye. Fucking love that guy.
He's awesome.
Hey,
that's huge.
So that is huge. But again, seems a little weird and lost in the sauce of in marketing talk and all the buzzwords and stuff. But at the end of the day, it still goes back to my point of we need to see these games start coming out. And I do think that Ubi is positioned to be able to pull this off because of the amount of content that they do have lined up on a AAA full release level, on a free-to-play multiplayer side level, and on the, hey, here's just some smaller projects. And like looking at this trailer, it's kind of a joke to look at, but it's like Ubi does have weird access to a lot of games that are awesome that we don't think about, like the Monopoly games and the Uno games, and like all the Family Feud and all that stuff that are legitimately good times. You know?
Yeah, but like, are they subscription service good times?
No, but it's additive. That's the thing. When it's all of those things together with the big AAA releases, which I feel like we
just need to get more. I think that'll be the shift, right? If Ubisoft can get their flow going again, right? And maybe where I'm talking a year from now, 2 years from now, when the Assassin's Creed Red and the cool those cool Assassin's Creed games come out, and Avatar comes out, and the next Star Wars game from Ubisoft comes out. If they can line those things up and then push, hey. And also, Ubisoft Plus, you're getting this day and date. I think that'll be where it's like, oh, okay, like I get what this is. This is dope as hell. But for now, right, I'm looking at the pricing, and for PC access alone, you're paying $14.99 a month, and then for multi access, which is PC and consoles, you're paying $18 a month. That is still a steep price. When you are talking about a subscription service, and then you're also comparing it to other sub services in the ecosystem, right, in the industry, and that is Xbox Game Pass, which is way more competitive in terms of the amount of content you're getting and the pricing. I think that pricing might be a stopping point for a lot of people. But again, if we get to the point where it is Star Wars, Avatar, big new Assassin's Creed dropping in the same year, then boom, you found value there.
In the chat, Bender Ascend says Mario plus Rabbids wasn't day and date, right? I imagine it's not, but I imagine that's because it's not on Switch. We're talking here like the Ubisoft Plus is only on PlayStation and Xbox.
Yes. Yeah, so there's PC access and then there's multi-access, which I believe is just PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah. Well,
and Luna, Amazon Luna.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess that makes sense. I guess it's like it we'll see how this goes. But hey, I do like it. I'm excited for big Ubisoft games to come back. And I'm hoping that they're going to start rolling out soon. Story number 4. Remedy has changed its logo. This comes from a blog post on their website. A fresh and refined look for Remedy Entertainment. A few years ago, as our studio's been transforming from creating a single game at a time to making several simultaneously and expanding beyond the borders of Finland to a second location in Stockholm, Sweden, we embarked on a mission to refine our visual identity. We haven't updated our logo in more than 20 years. That is until now. Creating a new logo and a refreshed visual identity for Remedy was an emotional journey, like anything to do with art. For longtime Remedy followers, you surely know how vital artistic direction is for us, not just in our games, but from the standpoint of how our studio identity looks, not to mention our hoodies. Hoodies are always very important. As a game development studio, we've come a long way since 1995 when we got our start. Remedy is constantly evolving. The bullet in the letter R in the old logo represented the era of Max Payne, but the Remedy of now is so much bigger than a single game. We have a whole portfolio of games, new and old. It was time to update and redefine our visual identity to bring more consistency, showcase our evolution over the years, and better express our vision of today's Remedy. The Remedy logo means a lot to us, but we know it also means a lot to you. Like the games we create at Remedy, we approach this process with great care, consideration, and a lot of passion. We want to create memorable worlds, stories, and characters for you to experience through our games. We wanted our new logo to reflect how we constantly evolve and continue creating exciting games with the very best people. However, it's still one Remedy where courageous creativity thrives. We hope you like the new look.
Bear, can you bring up the old Remedy logo if you get a chance? because I never noticed the bullet that's in the R of the old Remedy
I didn't
logo.
either.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, it's easy to miss.
Yeah.
But when you focus in, it's like, oh yeah, no, that's very, very obviously a bullet that's in there that I would not have. It makes sense for Remedy, right? Because Max Payne, but
Totally.
I never connected that. And so I understand why they're like, yo, let's evolve, because as a studio, we're gonna make different types of games, right? We don't want to only be known for shooters, even though I think they've only made shooters and they've only announced shooters. But hey, it is what it is. But yeah, like I'm down for a logo change. Yeah, this is the old Remedy logo, which
Yeah.
it's right there.
Yeah, it's so obvious, but I did not
It's
see
so
it.
obvious, but I was just like, oh yeah, this is the R.
I thought it was a butt plug.
I can see that too. I mean, I feel like that'd be kind of rough in terms of the shaping for the butt plug.
Hey,
Mainly like the first
maybe to you.
When I
fair
say
enough.
butt plug, what color do you think?
Purple. It's purple.
Good for you, Remedy. Can you pull up the new one again, please?
I don't get excited about modern logos anymore.
You don't?
Yeah.
I love logo redesigns, man. I'm a big logo boy. Me and Andy talk about it all the time.
I
There's
like-
an update. Woo,
I like
let's
logos
go.
in general, but I think the modern minimalist, it just doesn't do much for me. Like
Yeah.
I want more character to it.
I love all type of like iconography and all this stuff. So like I'm always a big fan of this. I am also a fan of how awkward it is to explain
Yeah.
logo choices. It's like it's impossible to do without sounding like a pretentious
Pretentious?
asshole. But like also good for you. Fucking own it. Care about this shit. People need to care more about their branding and their identities because it's so much about who they are. So like good for y'all. Care about this
Yeah.
shit. Is it a little weird to say? Yeah. But it ends with a dope looking logo. I like this for them. I think it's like a fun look at the type of games that they're making nowadays.
Yeah, for audio listeners, the Remedy logo, the new one, is basically like a flat. It looks like a regular flat capitalized R, but then like 80%, 80% through, they're like, nah, man, let's try again, and then like there's half, and then they're like, nah, fuck it, let's try it the third time, and there's like a third of an R. I think it's evolving. It's
I
supposed
want
to be
someone
evolving.
out there that might be just an audio listener that hasn't seen the logo to take what Blessing just said and just follow his instructions.
Yeah.
Let's see what you make. And
Yeah.
tweet it at us.
Draw that without looking at the logo and show it to us, because I really want to know if I nailed it. I did not nail it. I know I didn't.
Story number 5. Cliff Bleszinski says, stay tuned for LawBreakers news. This comes from Jordan Midler at VGC. Shout out to VGC. The
Shout out
boys
to
over there
VGC.
absolutely crushing the game. Such a great resource for news, and I think they just do a really good job of like systematically getting things
My
together.
number one news source. Like I can rely on them for having stuff timely, having stuff well written, and also having stuff that other people aren't covering. Like they give me all the minute good pieces of news that I need for the show.
Veteran video game designer Cliff Bleszinski has said fans should stay tuned for news on LawBreakers. Bleszinski tweeted on Thursday that he'd received a text from his lawyer about the game. Got a text from my lawyer about LawBreakers. Stay tuned. Interesting.
It sounds like a threat.
Yeah. Developed by the now defunct developer Bosky Productions, directed by Bleszinski, LawBreakers was released in August 2017 to positive reviews. The game would shut down just 1 year later, however, citing a low player count as the main issue. Talk to his lawyer about LawBreakers.
This is what I'll say, because the article just mentions the positive reviews. I'm going to throw my own critique in there too. Not critique, but my own endorsement in there. LawBreakers, pretty fun time.
Yeah.
Pretty fun time.
So this news here, which is, we'll see. This could be literally anything. Would you be excited about LawBreakers getting a second shake?
Yeah, I think I would be.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What would it need to do for you to be like, hey, that was worth it?
I think what LawBreakers probably struggled with was just the shooter space. Like, chat, remind me, in kindoffunny.com / wrong, like, remind me. Was LawBreakers competing with any other big games? And Mike, I'm sure you know this as well, because this is your type of your bag. I don't know if there was anything like wrong with LawBreakers. Like, it might have been pricing, and then also it coming out around a time where there was just too much competition. But I'm not positive. Nothing really big comes to mind in terms of what I would change about LawBreakers. Like, I think the idea was sound. The idea of they're breaking the law of gravity, Tim, and so you're flying all over the place. That stuff was fun. Like, you had the different types of character classes you can choose from. Like, LawBreakers, if I remember correctly, did a lot of things right, but it just wasn't exciting enough compared to things like Titanfall and Call of Duty and other big first-person shooters.
Well, let us know in the comments if you're excited for LawBreakers and what you hope ends up happening here. Story number 6, Splatoon 3's latest Splatfest is going all out for Zelda. This comes from Anna Diaz at Polygon. The Legend of Zelda is coming to Splatoon 3. The ink-fueled shooter will be getting a special Splatfest inspired by The Legend of Zelda in anticipation of the upcoming release of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The event brings along a special Triforce-themed map starting on May 5th and running until May 7th. In Splatoon 3, players can pick to be on one of 3 teams and compete for their squad online as part of a Splatfest. The Zelda theme is almost too good, given there are 3 teams, and the Triforce is one of the driving symbols of the series. For the Zelda Splatfest, players will get the option of representing one of the 3 pieces of the Triforce of Power, wielded by Ganon, the Triforce of Wisdom, wielded by Zelda, or the Triforce of Courage, wielded by our boy Link. The developers have introduced other cute features for the event. There'll be Zelda-themed shirts and a special version of Scorch Gorge for the tricolor turf war. Seen from overhead, the map is designed to look like the 3 stacked triangles of the Triforce.
That's really cool.
It is really cool, everybody. Matt G writes in, says Nintendo just announced a Zelda-themed Splatfest for Splatoon. They've done Mario and Pokemon in the past, but are there any other 3-way matchups you'd like to see?
I like to see something Sonic.
Mhm.
Like Sonic. And this is kind of unfair because if you do Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Sonic's going to win automatically, but I feel like that's probably true for other Splatfests anyway. So yeah, if they did a Sonic thing, I'd hop in there for that.
Yeah, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, that's good.
Yeah.
Sonic Heroes, Trifecta.
Sonic Heroes.
That's real good. What's the thing of 3? I want to rock, paper, scissors. That's what I want. I want to rock,
All right.
paper. What team would you be there?
Between rock, paper, scissors,
Mhm.
I like scissors a
Like
lot.
at the end of the day, you're a scissors guy?
At the end of the day, I think I'm a scissors guy.
I
Yeah.
think I am too.
Yeah, there's something about it. I don't know what it is.
I feel like it's the most fun to throw out,
It is.
you know?
Yeah, because paper is like, all right.
Rock, you're too confident.
Yeah.
Paper, you're not
Too
confident enough.
flimsy. Scissors is the happy
Just
medium.
right.
Yeah, I'm all about the
Giving
scissors.
away your guys' game here.
Or I'm playing mind games. I'm actually a fucking rock guy, everybody.
Whoa.
No, I'm scissors, baby. I'm
I would be
not confident enough for it.
Have they not done rock paper scissors before? That sounds like
have
something they
no
would have
idea.
done because they do like very mundane. Not calling your idea mundane.
I get it. I
you know?
get it, dude.
But they do a lot of topics like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there not like a game like because like coming off of Zelda? Like, Zelda is a great idea, obviously because you have Tears of the Kingdom coming out, but then. Yeah, having it be the Triforce, that's such a good implementation. Like you look at Zelda, the games, you're like, what do we need? Like if we're making 3 of a thing, it's right there for you.
Yeah.
and that's a fun idea. I don't know which one I'm choosing between those 3.
The Houses of Fire Emblem 3 houses.
Oh,
Cat saying
that's great.
That's a good call.
That's great.
Yeah.
But for Zelda, which one are you picking? Courage, power, knowledge.
Courage. Yeah, I go courage. It's the same thing. I feel like wisdom is like power, too confident. Courage,
Wisdom.
you're the cool guy.
Wisdom.
Yeah. Wisdom's the paper of the Triforce rock, paper, scissors situation.
That's fucked up. That's fucked up to say about Zelda.
I'm not wrong though.
I think I might go wisdom. Like I like the idea. Of
You're a smart guy. He's a smart guy.
I go courage because green is my favorite color.
If there was a blue.
Go for it.
Yeah. Well, no, go for it.
No, I don't know what I was going. I think I was
Blue
going to say
is
like
wisdom,
I like
isn't
power
it?
because
Is it?
I like
yeah,
villainy.
Blue's wisdom.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I always associate it with purple just because Zelda. But yeah, you're right. It's blue. Even then, though, I'm still courage.
Still courage.
Yeah.
Power I like for like the power hungry, like you associate with Ganon. Like I like siding with the villains a lot of the time. I don't know. There's something about the idea of wisdom, like because wisdom, Tim, it's different from knowledge,
You're right.
right? It's different from wisdom. There is like a level of understanding that comes with it. Like you meet somebody smart, and you're like, all right, he's a smart guy. You meet somebody wise, and
That's
it's
a
like
wise guy.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. You nailed it.
We're not going to get better than that, everybody. Bless.
Tim.
One day, me and you are going to have the most epic rock, paper, scissors off of all time.
We can do that right now.
I don't want to scissor you right now.
Oh, that's fair.
But if I wanted to know what was coming to mom and grop shops today, where would I look?
You would look toward the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kinda Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah.
Out today, we have Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection on PS4, Switch, and PC. We have De-Exit Eternal Matters on PC, PS4, 5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series S and X. We have Tape, Unveil the Memories, everywhere. We have Ultra Pixel Survive everywhere as well. Some new dates for you. Project Nightmares Case 36, Henrietta Kedward comes to Xbox and PlayStation on April 27th. Killer Frequency launches June 1st for Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, 5, Switch, and PC. Deals of the day. Persona 5 Royal on PS5 is $27.60 on Amazon.
Go play it.
Great deal.
It's also on Game Pass.
It's also on Game Pass. So you
Solid
cannot
platinum.
pay that.
Very solid plat.
What's that?
Solid platinum trophy.
Oh,
Yeah.
solid plat, everybody.
You can do it in one playthrough.
One playthrough. One plat to rule them all. Reader mail time. AssassinRN writes in, do you genuinely think Tears of the Kingdom is going to run well on the Switch? Yes.
Why not? You know,
Yeah. And I think it will. There will be parts like the Lost Woods and Breath of the Wild that do not run well. But I think overall the game will run well.
yeah. I added this question in just for the snark of it, just because like, and I don't want to like put it on AssassinRN, right? Like a lot of things that you
Without
write
question.
via text, right? Isn't your tone isn't going to come off. But yeah, writing and being like, do you genuinely like? I read it as, do you genuinely think Tears of the Kingdom is going to run well on the Switch? And it's like, why not? Like if it's working off the bones of Breath of the Wild, right? Like Breath of the Wild also didn't run perfectly on Switch. You had areas like the Lost Woods. You had areas like pretty much all like the very active, like woody, tree-heavy areas running a bit slower. I expect Tears of the Kingdom to run exactly the same way Breath of the Wild ran, because they're both like working off of this the same bones, right?
Same
They're working
team.
off of the same engine. It's the same team. And I wanted to bring this up just to say, hey, you know, being negative doesn't automatically mean that you're right. All right? Like,
I get it, but see,
that happens a lot.
To defend it though, I do think that they're coming from a place of realness of like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet just happened. There's differences though between the team that made Zelda and the team that made Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and the cadence of releases that they've put out and what the games are and like all of that stuff. There's no reason for us to think that Tears of the Kingdom's not going to run exactly as well as Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to get that, which again, that comes with all the caveats there. Do I wish that I was playing Tears of the Kingdom on a 4K system with HDR and all that?
1000%.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, I wish I
but-
was playing Tears of the Kingdom on a way more powerful system, of course, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I would say that I felt that way about Nintendo's console for like years now, right? Especially after having a Steam Deck and being able to look at like, oh man, I am playing games on the go that are running. I'm playing Death Stranding on this thing, and it's fucking great.
that are running.
That are running like Forrest Gump in this bitch.
Oh my God, I love
it. I would like more powerful hardware. But like my expectations for Tears of the Kingdom are basically, hey, yeah, like I'm gonna get a sequel to Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
It's gonna look like
You have
Breath of
to
the Wild.
imagine,
titled
like,
now.
This team is probably more comfortable with the Switch hardware and possibly even like learning things over the last 6 years to have it better optimized. You have to remember that Breath of the Wild was originally developed for the Wii U and then,
on the Wii U.
Yeah, and
This
on
one's
the
not.
Wii, yeah, exactly. So maybe there's some things there, especially in the early development cycle of the Switch. So I wouldn't be too worried.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam in chat says Nintendo does not deserve the benefit of the doubt at this point in terms of performance.
Why?
It's not the benefit of the doubt. It's working off of prior experience, right? Like we played Breath of the Wild, like we've seen this team do its thing. There's no reason not to think that if they're making a game that looks pretty much the same, right, and like has pretty much the same kind of open world and the same kinds of things going on, that it's going to run similar to that. Again, like
Xenoblade Chronicles 3 just came out and like
Yeah.
it ran great and it looks great.
I think people have a hard time separating Game Freak from the rest of the Nintendo.
yeah, to Spall in chat, right? It's the benefit of the precedent, and that's exactly what we're talking about here, right?
Yeah.
Like when it comes to I guess forming opinions and forming expectations, you always got to go by, all right, what's your pedigree? What has happened in the past? What are the reasons for me to doubt? What are the reasons for me to believe? Right? And if this was Pokemon Scarlet 2 and Violet 2, then I'd be like, oh man, this shit might be rough in terms of how it runs. Like, hey, let's wait for this one. But it being Tears of the Kingdom and us seeing enough of the trailers, I think it's gonna run probably as good as Breath of the Wild.
Yes, 100%. You can go to kindoffunny.com/you'rewrong to let us know what we got wrong as we screw it up live. Let's get in here.
Bander SN writes in and says, Rock, Paper, Scissors was the first 3-team Splatfest in Splatoon 3. It was actually the Splatfest for the beta.
There we go.
That's Tim
Bringing it all
being
back.
ahead of the game.
Or just it was in there somewhere.
I
Timmy,
think that's Tim being behind the game.
BSB Tim being late to the game.
you know what?
But that's Tim
I'm
being
a
like,
scissors guy.
he's so far ahead that like even in the future he'd be reminiscing.
Exactly. That's how it goes.
Whoa,
Yeah.
like
That's how it
Futurama
goes.
rules, you know.
Exactly.
Timmy Buddy says HBO Max turns into just Max on May 23rd. Ignacio Rojas says Square Enix confirmed that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming out this winter, so the game should come out before March ends. And I trust Square Enix, the company.
Yeah, Square Enix would never delay something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, them confirming it was just the last time we heard about the game of when they announced the title and stuff. So jury's still out on whether or not they stick to it. But I been talking about benefit of the doubt and stuff with where Square's been recently. I have no reason to think they're not going to hit that.
Yeah, I mean winter. Well, they said winter 2020. They said winter next year, I guess, in the trailer.
Yeah.
Which again could mean February. Like next February is still winter, right? And so I think adding in that space for wiggle room makes sense. And yeah, it makes me think that I wouldn't be surprised to see it hit.
Yeah.
Before March.
What do you think is more likely, them launching in December or February?
I don't think December's a chance. Like at this point, I think that it's not this year. I think it'll be next year. And like if I had to bet, I don't think it's going to make it in winter. Technically, I think that April feels right to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it hits that Forspoken slot. I think late January.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let us know in the comments below when you think it'll hit. That's what we got for you there.
That's what we got.
We are about to do our super fun little hangout where you can super chat away and we'll answer your questions, where they have to do with the news stories we talked about today, news stories we missed, whatever it is. We're going to hang out and talk video games with you, with SnowBikeMike as well. And then after that, hang out, stay tuned. The stream is about to be absolutely incredible, absolutely epic. We are doing a race across America, us versus Hang Time. There's a bunch of challenges in the studio set up. Pandemonium will ensue. Can you please send that to Barrett?
Listen, it's close.
Awesome.
Let's
Fucking
go.
Awesome.
Oh, man.
Somebody answered the call and did the logo based on Blessing's instructions. Next week's hosts are Greg and me on Monday, me and Bless on Tuesday, Bless and Andy Wednesday, Bless and me on Thursday, and me and Steven Spawn on Friday. Very exciting stuff. My first time ever doing a show with him. So that should be a good time. If you're watching live, remember, we're trying something new with YouTube SuperChats. Only on YouTube in a live stream. There's going to be a 30-minute post show where SnowBikeMike comes in to talk to us, Games Daily hosts, about your Super Chat questions. Stay tuned after the handshake today for that. It's going to be a great time. This has been Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday live right here on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We run you through all the video game news that you need to know. Until next time, I love you all. Be good. Big Mike, how you doing?
Good.
Real excited about this.
Still learning my timing on when I'm supposed to walk in with the chair. You know?
Yeah.
So, I'm just feeling it out.
I'd say like right when they handshake.
Yeah.
Plus, your T-shirt looks incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I just wanted to let you know.
Now,
I really like that.
Did you play LawBreakers?
No, I did not.
Oh, you seem like the kind of
He
person that
seems
would
like
be
a
doing-
lawbreaker.
Yeah, so you asked that questions when I walked in, and they were going up against like Overwatch at the time and other like team arena shooters, and I think that's what really had a problem for poor LawBreakers. I think Overwatch just dominated the space at the time.
Because LawBreakers was 2017. So yeah, you're talking about a year after Overwatch, which that actually makes a lot of sense.
When that was at its peak, is right.
Yeah.
So Overwatch was hot at that point. Yo, welcome in, Kind of Funny best friends. I hope you enjoyed today's Kind of Funny Games Daily. Of course, we are back with our fun Kind of Funny Games Daily post show where you get involved. You ask these Kind of Funny Games Daily show hosts some more questions, and we get to talk a little more video games with all of you. Don't forget, you can get involved right now. If you're watching live over on YouTube, of course, you can super chat with questions, comments, concerns, going deeper into today's news stories. Of course, you can ask new topics if you have some other video game news you want to talk about, or just tell Blessing how good he looks. Any questions under the sun, we'll answer them, we'll take them. And then, of course, over on Twitch, you can get involved too. Use those bits if you would like to biddy donate and drop some comments with your bits. We will gladly talk about that. But guys, we got some questions to start off our Friday edition
Real quick,
of today's
I got a
post show.
Oh, some stuff from Big Kev Dog.
Real quick, when are we flipping the set?
Whenever y'all want.
11:30.
So, okay, all right, shooting for 11:30.
Okay, yeah, I would say shoot for 11:30. Okay, cool. All right.
Because at noon is when the fun begins.
Correct. At noon, the fun begins. And I could take a quick moment. I was going to do it at the end, but I'll take a quick moment right now. Today, we want to do a very fun, kind of highly produced live stream where we have a lot more fun in the whole studio space itself. And we've teamed up with our friends over at Hang Time to collab and do a really fun stream. It's a street race across America, Bless. It's going to be a really fun time in the crew, too. We have a lot of shenanigans plans where you, the kind of funny best friends, of course, can support us here on Twitch and on YouTube with your subs and super chats, and that will lead to some shenanigans like wheel spins of punishments, where maybe Andy will have to eat as many pizza rolls as you want him to, or Tim will have to spell words that he probably doesn't know how to spell, being delayed due to backlash. What are some of the key changes you would like to see would invigorate your hype for it? So, of course, I want you all to know, while you guys were talking about that, in the other side of the spare bedroom, Andy Cortez was getting hype. He says he's going to champion this game. He thinks it looks great and should be released right away because he's ready to play. But when we talk about the delay, what are some of the key features that you would like to be addressed here, Bless? Why are they delaying this, and what needs to be addressed?
It's tough to think about the things that they can address by the time that the game comes out. I think content will be a big thing. Maybe reveal one or two of the characters that you were going to have be part of your after launch roadmap. Maybe those will be ready by the time the game comes out. And so, yeah, if you have a couple characters in there that we can get really excited about, I don't know who those are because I'm not the biggest Suicide Squad person. This is a person that runs with the rats, right? Like, give me the rat person.
Multiple of them. Yeah.
There's multiple of them.
The one you saw was Ratcatcher 2.
Whoa! Yeah, because she was the sequel. I don't know if you put in Ratcatcher, put in John Cena's character, the Peacemaker. I don't know if these are big gets though. I don't know what a big get is for Suicide Squad.
I mean, I think the biggest get for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is the Justice League. I think what you need to do for this game to be able to succeed as much as it can is to lean into the Andy Cortezes of the world. Give him what he wants. And what I think he wants is an excellent time that has an understanding of what that time is, which means not a live service game. Make it very clear it's not that. I think take all that stuff out, have a roadmap that they are going to stick to that satisfies people. We don't need 10 bazillion check-in points and all this stuff.
Yes.
Have really clear and concise understanding of the game is launching this month. The following month, this will be released. The following month, this will be released. Have all that stuff be worthwhile content people are actually going to want, and have an end point even of just this is what this is. And then if you get there, you can add more and figure it out later. But have an experience that means something to someone for some time, as opposed to just putting something out that people are just going to kind of shit on and hate and nitpick to hell because there's things worth nitpicking.
Games as a service, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Think about the future instead of the right now is my biggest concern about that. Make a fun 4-player co-op, beat 'em up, shoot 'em up game, right? Like let's start focus on the priority first. You do that, land it, and then we can talk about content down the line. I think a lot of games as a service start to think about the future and how we can make this into Fortnite, money-making, seasons, content, when we should probably focus on the now, which is like, let's make sure this is a good game because there's a lot of flying, a lot of jumping, a lot of shooting purple monsters. And so that's my concern. But Andy's excited about the Crackdown, quote unquote, aspect of this game. It looks like Crackdown probably will play like a Crackdown. And so I'm excited for him. And yeah, we'll see. What are they really addressing, Bless? You know what I mean? That's what I want to know.
Is Andy a Crackdown fan?
He makes it sound like he's excited about this because of the Crackdown vibes of it.
Is it Crackdown or Outriders?
Well, he's an Outriders champion, but this is more Crackdown.
Gotcha.
Are we sure it's more Crackdown?
That if you ask Andy, that's what he said. I mean, yeah,
I mean,
it
it
looks
has
just like
Crackdown vibes,
Crackdown.
yeah, like
jumping
hopping
high up
around,
in the air,
purple
shooting
stuff.
down at people. Yeah, exactly. They're just missing orbs. You got to suck in those orbs in Crackdown.
But like they have the orbs on the enemies that you shoot at to kill
That's
them
true.
that
That's
everybody
true.
loves.
Orb world,
true.
we're just living in it.
Let's keep it going right now. One more coming in for, of course, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Sid Hartha writes in and says, are you guys worried that if Suicide Squad bombs, it will kill Rocksteady because of how much money must have been spent making this game? Tim, I'll go to you on this one. Is it going to kill Rocksteady?
I don't think it'll kill them, but I do think it puts them in a very sad position that is not market leader for who they are. Like, I think that Rocksteady, that name means something that is very special and unique in a way that I think like Retro Studios is one of the only ones I'd put up there of like, they are known for a specific franchise and kind of owning a genre in video games, right? Like creating something new where the Arkham gameplay is Arkham gameplay. Like that what that means in a way that I think a lot of other games is like, oh, it's a third-person shooter, or oh, it's a action game, or it's whatever. It's like, no, it's Arkham. And I think that they're losing that already with Suicide Squad, where it doesn't look like, maybe it will, but it doesn't look like it has that vibe. So I think that whatever they do next is going to be like a tougher sell. And I think BioWare might be another good example of them being known for a whole bunch of this stuff, but then having Anthem come out and not work out for them, you know?
I could see a future where we don't have a Rocksteady anymore, because we did get the, like, what was it, the rumors or reports a couple of years ago that WB was trying to sell off studios but not with the IP, right?
Yeah.
And so you have two big studios, WB Montreal and Rocksteady, back to back releasing what are probably going to be middling games in the DC universe. WB's biggest owned IP, when they've already been thinking about trying to possibly get rid of these studios, whether or not it was Rocksteady itself, who knows. So I could see a future where Rocksteady is owned not by WB. I could see a future where WB just starts shutting down its games division and starts going the Disney route and licensing its IP out to, outside developers.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Crystal Dynamics because as we mentioned earlier in the show, it's been 9 years. It's going to be 9 years since the release of their last game. By the time they get to the release of Suicide Squad, and there's no game studio and no publisher that's like, all right, you're gonna spend 9 years on this project, even if it's a successful project. 9 years is a long time. If that project comes out and fails, like, that is such a indictment on somebody, right? Like, somebody's got to get in trouble for that, right? Is it Rocksteady? Is it WB? Is it like somewhere in the middle? Is it both? Like, what needs to change that this doesn't happen again? And for WB, is that, all right, Rocksteady, like, you're going to support and work with the studios that we know have it, right? Like, Avalanche just launched a very successful Hogwarts game. Maybe that that's the other thing, is that Rocksteady was the star child. Rocksteady was the star of WB Games. Now you are talking about, I forget, correct me if I'm wrong, I forget if Avalanche is actually owned by WB or not.
I think so, right?
Yeah, I know there's multiple Avalanches, so I get confused about there. But you're talking about Avalanche, at least with the IP of Hogwarts Legacy. And then you're also talking about NetherRealm with Mortal Kombat and Injustice.
Plus, you brought up Crystal Dynamics earlier. Was that a mistake, or did you have a point of connecting them and Rocksteady?
I probably meant Rocksteady, but also I was going to connect them and Rocksteady because I had Crystal Dynamics on the mind for the reason of the Crystal Dynamics put out Avengers, which I would say has a lot of
similarities here. Absolutely.
Yeah, especially when you talk about the timing of, we've known about Suicide Squad for a while, right? Like, that was rumored forever, the idea of that the Suicide Squad is being worked on by Rocksteady, just like how we knew that Avengers was being worked on by Crystal Dynamics. Both of those games strike me as games that were greenlit mid 2010s, right? Like, talking about like 2015-ish, 2016, if not maybe even earlier. And you're talking about a space that is seeing more popular games as a service type games. You're seeing Destiny make big waves. You're seeing more devs try that thing out. And over the years now that we're in 2023, right, about to be 2024, the live service ecosystem has changed so dramatically that I don't know if I would say it's Crystal Dynamics, or if I would say it's Rocksteady's fault for the way Suicide Squad is being received and all this stuff, right? But it is what it is in terms of where we're at with how you're delivering the game, right? People are not happy with the fact that this seems like a live service thing that's not going to hit.
It's interesting to look at, and I know that in some ways we're going in circles with this conversation, but I think that there is a lot of conversations around different elements of the trepidation around this release of, like, it being Warner Brothers games at this point, Rocksteady, DC characters and all this stuff, live service, where it's coming out in terms of the console generation, all of that. When you look at what could potentially happen to Rocksteady, let's say that this game that we follow through Barrett's train of thought, right? Where the game doesn't hit, Rocksteady's in trouble. What happens then? Because I don't think there's a world where Rocksteady just goes away, or at least the people there entirely go away. Somebody's going to either buy Rocksteady as a whole, or Rocksteady's going to die, and then the people that worked at Rocksteady end up creating a team and, like, getting bought somewhere else. You look at PlayStation, you look at Xbox, I can imagine that they're sitting there being like, let's just get Rocksteady and let them work on whatever they want to work on. Because I think the big question that I have is, are the people at Rocksteady working on Suicide Squad, are they happy to be working on it?
And is
this what they want to be making?
You mentioned Rocksteady going away and then those people splintering off and doing their own thing. I don't even think Rocksteady has to go away for that, right? I can easily imagine that people, by the time Suicide Squad comes out, if it doesn't hit, lead creators of that studio going, man, this sucked. Like, this whole thing sucked. Like, this wasn't worth the time and effort it took to make this. We would like to just make our passion game, right? We want to make the game that we want to make. Let's do our own studio. Hey, let's make the four of us. We have high creative roles here. We know we work together well. Let's split it off and do our own thing and have it become something like Haven Studio, or something like the Callisto Protocol Studio, or something like the growing list of independent AAA studios that are growing. I could easily see people from Rocksteady that if they're not happy by the time the game comes out, being like, yeah, peace out, we're doing our own thing. And Rocksteady continuing, but maybe be a middling version of itself, because you are missing out on the big creative talent that made it what it is, right? And maybe that then turns into Rocksteady having to work on either smaller titles or supporting another studio. I could also see being the way of, with Crystal Dynamics, we know now that they're working on Tomb Raider after Marvel's Avengers flopped. And so maybe there's also the alternate reality where, hey, this flopped because, you know, this isn't working. Like, the whole concept of this game was not going to work from the start. Let's give you a core Batman Arkham game to work on again. Like, get back to your roots, get back to what we know, what you're good for. Is that the kind of publisher WB is? I don't know. I can't say, but I think those are the different routes you can take there.
Really interesting future.
We'll
have to keep our eyes on that. We are halfway through today's Kinda Funny Games daily post show, where we read your super chats and bit donations, and we go a little more in depth with our Kinda Funny Games daily show host, talking video games and having some fun. We are at the halfway point, guys, so we got to ramp it up just a little bit before today's big stream. So coming in from CJS, writes in, what Nintendo IP do you see launching with the Switch 2? Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Mario.
I was gonna say it's got to be Mario, right, Tim? Like, that's,
I don't know.
That's
I don't
the
know.
name, right? You got to do Mario.
I don't think that Switch 2 is such a complicated thing, because what's it going to be? And I feel like that changes the conversation, because I wouldn't be surprised if this next Switch doesn't necessarily launch with like one of the biggest bangers of all time. Nintendo doesn't traditionally launch with giant bangers. I mean, most people don't. Breath of the Wild being an exception, Mario 64 being an exception. But with Wii Sports, I think, is a little bit different. I wouldn't be surprised if we get something more akin to that. Luigi's Mansion launching on GameCube, like that type of level of game. I just think that I am leaning on this next Switch being a continuation of the Switch in some way, shape, or form. So I kind of feel like the generational leap to the next one is going to feel like a continuation as opposed to a brand new launch with a launch lineup of games. So we'll have to see. But looking at Nintendo's IP and like the games that they've released on the Switch, the games that they've released sequels to, and the games that they haven't, there's a handful of things. We have Metroid Prime 4 still, F-Zero something or other, a Star Fox something or other. Pokemon will continue to keep going. Mario's the big one that is overdue for a title. I don't know what that looks like, though, where I feel like I would probably expect Mario on Switch as opposed to Switch 2.
Okay. Coming up next, Shinobi 3005 writes in and says, Bless, what class did you rep in XDefiant? And what class would Tim and Mike rep? Blessing, this is for you. Mm-hmm. Of course, I have the classes right there. You might have seen them before. What you repping?
Are they called the Wolves? When I was playing through, I believe they were called the... I mentioned earlier on in the show, basically the defense, the Ghost Recon.
Yeah.
Ghost
Phantoms.
Recon Phantoms. Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
The
They got
Phantoms.
some cool names now. Okay. Other than this, I like that.
Yeah. Is this an old image? I don't remember them being called the Wolves.
This might be an original image, because I'm looking at that. I'm like, I remember seeing them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It looks so Apex-like. Like, that looks like Caustic right there. Why do we got to have the threesome staring at the camera? You know what I mean?
God.
We can't make anything else on that, you know?
Yeah, so I use the Ghost Recon Phantoms. Are these guys? I'm trying to figure out what these guys are. Are these guys the? Oh, these are
Cleaners
Division.
from Division.
Yeah,
The
cleaners from the
Division.
Division.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I really like the Phantoms. I didn't want to switch off of them for my time playing last night.
Cool.
Yeah, I really liked having that shield. My only thing is that the shield takes a long time to recharge, and so it's not something that I can repeatedly do. Even after dying, like, it takes time to recharge. Like, when you respawn, it doesn't automatically go back down to zero. And so you really got to be a bit more tactical in terms of your timing of using that ability. But I really liked it as a defensive ability, especially that combining that with the marksman rifle and getting like the long, like putting down a shield and then like getting like a good vantage point and sniping people. Really fun time. And so I might stick with that, but I would definitely want to try out either Libertad for the gimmick of it being Far Cry 6. I think is a fun, weird dichotomy between that and then having that be with a bunch of Tom Clancy shit. Or the where were they? The cleaners from The Division. Like I think that they seem fun. And I like playing The Division 2 for the time that I played it, and so I like the idea of playing as a crew from or a class from that game.
Okay, let's stick with XDefiant right now. Starkzilla, my apologies. How deep should Ubisoft go for XDefiant characters? Should they bring in the Assassins and Templars, Monopoly Man with a gun, Tim Geddes? How deep do you go? I mean, a Smash Bros dude like yourself, they've gone deep into the Duffy. Banjo's in there, Snake is in there, right? Like, how deep do you go if you're Ubisoft?
Oh, deeper than Atlantis. Home of the scandalous, big bad Los Angeles. Dangerous, vandalous. All right, shout out to Exhibit. Yes, you got to go real deep.
X to the
You got to go
Bars.
real deep there, all right? I want to see the rabbits. I want to see the Prince of Persia and Farah, all the homies out there.
Wow.
I think that there's an opportunity to have a lot of fun here. I don't think they're going to go all the way in on that with what this is. We were talking earlier about the branding of what this game is, and like it at the end of the day is a realistic shooter with slightly stylized, cartoony looks. I don't know how hardcore they're going to go into some of that. But if it evolves, I think over time it can change from being a more serious looking shooter with like neon pink paint splotches and stuff to being like, all right, cool. We can actually get a For Honor squad in here and like have it make sense in some way. Ubisoft has a deep catalog of characters and games with teams that make sense because that's kind of what their bread and butter's been for a long time. But I think that they could have a lot of fun with some of the deeper cuts.
I agree with that. Yeah, I could see a team with like the rabbit's ears on like their military outfits. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to go full on Fortnite with it. You could get them to dress up in certain ways to make it feel like that team.
I think that could work as a cosmetic really well.
Yeah.
I think that's an overtime thing of they definitely have an aesthetic that they're going for in terms of the seriousness of it. And I don't know if one of the first classes added would be we're going to add a Rabbids class. But I think it would be a mistake not to have Assassin's Creed in there, especially as a class. Like, I think that would be a slam dunk. And I think For Honor to some extent, like the stuff that has realism adjacent like to it, like I think you can figure that stuff out. But then, yeah, if you have an unlockable Rabbids ears thing, I think that's how you get around to more of the fun cartoony stuff that you have in your roster. And so, yeah, but you definitely want to get an Assassin's Creed in there.
Okay, let's go on to our final couple questions right now. Triforce Power writes in and says, what game did you think couldn't fail? Or what game you thought would fail but surprised you? Oh, okay. What game did you say, man, that game's going to fail, but then surprised you, Bless?
Ooh, that's a good question. Off the top of my head.
The biggest answer is Fortnite.
No.
Oh, that is the biggest answer.
When Fortnite
People were making fun of
Fortnite was the meme
Here's
of
the
memes.
deal. In 2017, when I played Fortnite with my friends, I looked at them and I said, this game fucking rocks, and it's going to be big time. I could see the future, Tim.
Yeah, well, hey, you were
I'm sure you could.
And I got lucky with it.
you were wrong for 6 months though.
Andy's over there just shaking his head.
Andy, I'm just telling you, you can go back in
like,
the annals of time.
Mike, what were you on at the time that could make you see in the
2017, I
future?
played that Battle Royale, and I said, holy shit, this
Oh,
is
the Battle Royale.
game.
That's way after it came out.
That's 2017, though.
I know, but
That was the
But like the
that was
Battle Royale,
groundwork.
the Battle Royale, I get on
That
playing
was the
that because
moment,
that was the turning point for everybody.
No, it was like a year after the Battle Royale came
No,
out. It was a year after.
Immediately, Fortnite started to catch on when the Battle Royale came out. But like for Fortnite
Save
is
the
ultimate
World.
answer. Yeah, because Save the World was the thing that was marketed for so long. And I remember listening to Giant Bomb, and I think they played it in like 2013, 14. They played it like real early, and it would become a recurring meme of them just bringing up like, oh, remember Fortnite? It's like, oh yeah, I'm sure Fortnite will be there. That happened for years and years and years.
And then PUBG happened, and then Fortnite happened after PUBG.
Yeah.
That was like a wild turn of like, oh wow, they did it.
When Fortnite was like officially announced to release in 2017, I remember being like, oh, this meme game, oh, this is coming out, okay, that's hilarious. And then it came out, and it was dead for like half a year, and then they added battle. Like that's the ultimate. Like, oh shit, we were all wrong about this thing. This is now the biggest game in the world.
Thanks, bro.
Outriders, I might put in that too. I
Outriders?
didn't have any faith in Outriders.
Yeah, Outriders is a good
Fucking
one.
Nick.
I mean, Hood's Outlaws and Legends. You know what I mean? But
For
that
what?
game failed for
Oh,
sure.
this-
Hood Outlaws and Legends surprised me, but it failed. You know what I mean? What game failed? What game did I think was going to fail, but somehow surprised me? It's a great question.
I
It's a
hope
fun
Suicide
Gamescast
Squad
topic.
is the answer next year.
that you think is going to fail, but surprises you
I hope
that you
so.
like it. Okay, I like that. I like that.
I'm sure there's better answers out there that I can think of, but honestly, Fortnite might be the one that takes the cake.
That's a great question. That's a great answer right there.
I mean,
Well,
on a very
let's-
personal level, for me, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I have never talked that much shit about a game pre-release and then loved it as much as I did after playing it.
Well, we're going to talk more about that. I'm going to keep that in my back pocket.
Dead by Daylight's Andy's answer.
Dead by Daylight, you thought was going to fail, then did well. I like that.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap up the question for you, Bless, because
What
you
up?
are one of the hosts of the incredible PS I Love You XOXO, and they want to know, does Greg and Bless have the power to get Jim and/or Herman Holtz on the show? What's up, Bless? When are we going to pull in the big talent for the show and give him some
God,
questions?
I would love that so much. I would love that. If anybody has the connect, let us know. But yeah, that'd be the coolest thing ever. But
Okay.
We get this a lot. We get
Yeah.
people ask us like, "Oh, how come we always get the Xbox heads on shows?"
People like
and whatever.
XCast. That's what they say.
Well,
That's what
but
they
I mean,
say.
legitimately, like Xbox listen to the show. Like they
Uh-huh.
are fans of it, and they want to be on it. And everyone's different. PlayStation's different. Nintendo's different. They have their own way of doing things in teams. I want everyone out there to know. Kind of Funny wants that. Like Greg's always trying to get them on the show and stuff. So it's not like we're like, oh, we're going to try the Xbox and not PlayStation. It's just everyone plays by different rules. And Xbox, at this point in time, happen to be a lot more willing to.
That's the thing
frown.
is, like, realistically, like, look on Twitter, look on social, look at the people, the companies that you see putting their faces front, front and facing, right? Like, Phil Spencer's everywhere. Phil Spencer's all over Twitter.
Yes.
Sarah Bond is all over Twitter and social media. They speak very loudly. PlayStation is very much buttoned up. Like, you don't really have the level of personality out of PlayStation as you do a place like Xbox, right, or some other spots. And that's by design, right? That is Xbox is like, hey, we gotta put our faces front because we gotta be communicative. This is our strategy. PlayStation is very much, we let the games do the talking. Like, we let the product do the talking. Like, people are going to play God of War because they know God of War is going to be quality. And that's just the differences of how the companies operate. And that's probably why you see a lot more interviews with somebody like Phil Spencer versus other people. And so,
Well, let's end the show with this. We have a Reddit post that we need to talk about. Hate to say it, but I'm generally worried about everyone at Kinda Funny. Today, they're facing off against the Hang Time Jabronis for a 3-hour street race across the country. Tearing across the asphalt in some 2015 Mustang fastbacks might sound like a good time, but people like Tim, Greg, and the rest of them lack a serious knowledge of the marriage of the sex and metal that is street racing, at least when compared to the guys at Hang Time.
Who posted this on our Reddit?
I don't know what they're going to do, but whatever happens, I hope they make it out alive and unembarrassed. Today at 12 o'clock West Coast, Best Coast time, if you're watching live on YouTube and or Twitch, we got a very special stream. It's a street race across the country with so many fun, punishing pit stops that you, Kinda Funny best friends, can bring to Greg, Nick, Andy, and Tim as they are our elected racers throughout of it. Me and Blessing, we're going to eat pizza rolls and drink Coronas in the background.
pizza
I
It's gonna
might
be a
even
good
need
time.
you to play chess for me.
But we have a really
am I
fun
going to play against
stream.
myself? How does that work?
We have a really fun stream coming your way in just a little bit. We're going to need your support, of course, throughout the stream. If you gift subs, they'll all have punishments. At every 100 sub marker that we hit, we'll bring out the wheel of punishment, and we'll make our racers stop and go do something. Until then, we will see you in just 30 minutes as we reset the stage and the set. Goodbye, everyone.
The worst mic drop moment of all time.